Topic one today is one of those topics I just spend way too much time thinking about. It becomes a little seed in my brain at bedtime when I'm feeding Banks, and then all of a sudden it's 3.5 hours later and I'm going through the mental exercise of it. I want to go through all of our favorite programs, and I basically want to determine this upcoming year's team is the best version of that program since blank, since when. Let's build some excitement. Let's really try and contextualize how much better certain teams have gotten since whenever. We will mention, I think there will be a few teams we bring up here that our answer is since last year because we think they were better last season than they are this upcoming season. But in general, want to try and define how good or how long it's been since we've seen a team this good for some of our favorite programs. Do you want to steer on which teams we do for this, or how do you want to approach this?
I think the most fun ones are gonna be Michigan. I think the answer to Michigan is gonna be really fun. I think the answer to Kentucky is gonna be really fun. Louisville is gonna be really fun. The answer to Purdue, Houston, Duke is very easy for me. It's like last year, the year before last year.
There's a couple easy ones that might, this exercise might honestly be a boring listen because we might have a lot of easy ones to point to. But let's start with Michigan since you said that would be fun and that's my team. I think I'll surprise you with my answer, but a lot of preseason hype. Highest this team has been ranked in the preseason, I think, really since probably before Juwan Howard got here, or maybe his second year in the program. The best going through Ken Palm history, Juwan had one elite team. They were third nationally in 2021. That was Hunter Dickinson's freshman year, Franz's sophomore year. They lost in the Elite Eight, but they won the Big Ten regular season. That team was nasty. That's my answer. I don't expect Michigan this year to be better than that 2021 team.
I was 100% gonna say the Franz team too.
Okay. All right. So we're aligned then. I thought you could stretch it. If you went back past that, then I think you're going back to one of the final Beeline teams, either the one that made the national title appearance or like the Iggy Brazdakis team. This is a crazy note. Per Ken Pom efficiency margin, Juwan Howard had a better team than any John Beeline Michigan team.
Yeah, that is crazy. But also not that crazy. I feel like that Franz team was insanely talented.
And it was a season they only played 28 games because of COVID and they had cancellations, and also the memory of it they lost when Isaiah Livers missed the whole postseason. If senior Isaiah Livers had been healthy on that team, there is a world that they get by UCLA, and we're looking at them against Baylor and Gonzaga in the Final Four. I think they were that good, and I think that's the answer when fully healthy. That team was nasty. Who was next? What was the other one you thought would be interesting?
Michigan State.
Last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
You think last year's team's better than this year's team? Like for sure, for certain?
For me, it's comfortable, but I've been surprised before.
I think it's comfortable knowing what Jace became. I think they're going into the season with similar question marks, though.
Last year's team started 18-2, 9-0 in the Big Ten. I just can't process this year's team doing that.
I agree. I agree. I don't think they have the Jace Richardson that's going to come alive to kind of like steer the ship a little bit, but I do think there are some similar question marks. So, but I would say last year too.
Yep. Okay. Let's just get through the Big Ten here. I don't know how difficult these ones will be. Purdue.
The Edie national championship team.
So I think there is an argument that this year's team could be better than Edie's last year at Purdue.
I 100% think it. I 100% think it is. Is there an answer though? Like if it isn't that year, like what do we say? Like no answer?
I mean, it would have to be, I mean, either the Hummel, Jawan, Etwan years, but I think the Edie team was probably better than those teams.
Yeah,
There is an argument if you take this year's team over Edie's team, you would be saying this is the best Purdue team ever.
I think it is.
So you would take this year's upcoming season. I mean, let's just call it what it is. They have the preseason National Player of the Year, just like
Mhm.
they had with Edie. This time they have a second All-American. This time they have an international stud. They have more depth, I think. They have better role players. So it's basically, do you think Edie's greatness transcends the added boost some of the role player supporting cast has this year?
If Braden Smith is everything we believe he is, and the general consensus believes he is, I'm not going to say he's going to replicate what Edie did, but his impact should be similar. I think everybody else's impact far outweighs what Edie had around him. And I know he also had Braden Smith technically on that team.
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of people who get really mad at us and say we're crazy if we end up saying we think this year's team will be better than Painter's Edie team. So I'm not going to be bold enough to do it. I'll take the Edie team over this, but I think this should be the second best Purdue team I've seen in my life.
I'm gonna do it and say it's the best. And I'm gonna challenge Purdue fans by saying, don't hit me with the we're gonna win a national championship stuff if you don't think this team's better.
Yeah, okay.
You
All
can't have
right.
your cake and eat it too sometimes.
There you have it. All right. Let's do Illinois. This one's interesting.
This one is interesting. I
So
don't
I
know.
think there's an argument last year's Illinois team is better than this year's team.
I was gonna say I don't know how much better I think this team is than last year's team.
I mean, at the furthest back we would go is just the Terrence Shannon Jr. 24 year. They're not better than that team.
For sure. I definitely don't think they're better than the 2014.
But the question is, would we take this year's version over last year? And you talked up the experience of the new guys they added versus playing the youth game with Casperus and Will Riley.
We're not just talking like on paper, we're talking about like the result of we think the team will have to, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Last year's team's better on paper. This year's team will have a better result.
I think that's 100% where I agree. So I am going to give this upcoming year's team the nod. They will be a better basketball team than last year. I don't know how. Probably just Casperus won't throw the ball out of bounds all the time. But yeah, it only goes back 2 years because the Terrence Shannon Jr. team was awesome. All right, let's move elsewhere. Let's try and find something else here.
What about Kentucky?
We can do Kentucky. I don't think you're going to like my answer.
Who is it last year?
I think last year was better.
Really? I was gonna go back a little farther. I was gonna go back to the 2019 team.
Okay, talk me through the logic there.
And going all the way back to 2019.
Yeah, I mean, at minimum, you're skipping the Reed Shepherd, Rob Dillingham year. Like
Yeah,
Oscar
I don't
Tshiebwe was a
think
National Player of the Year one of these years. They were a 2 seed, 26 and 8 and 22.
I think this team's gonna be, if they're not a one seed, I think they're gonna be one of the first two seeds named. I don't think they're gonna lose in the first round like a few of those teams. Um, I think all those teams are better on paper, if that makes sense. It's the Illinois argument, right? Like I even look at this 2019 team, Nick Richards, Nick Richards, Keldon Johnson, PJ Washington, Tyler Hero, Emmanuel Quickly. How in the world does that line up with what Pope has? But those are like majority of them are freshmen. Like Pope's going to get a better result because of the experience he has on the roster too. I also think JQ, if healthy, lines up with anybody Kentucky's had in a long time.
Wow, that's really high praise.
Yeah, I'm very high on JQ, very high.
I mean, yeah, I guess this is kind of the whole thing with Kentucky. Like you're factoring in Mark Pope's capabilities, right? Just his competence. Because if we're just going off like best roster, this isn't better than Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham.
No.
But that frustrated Kentucky fans like crazy. So I don't know. I guess I'll land here. You've talked me into this year's team being better than last year's, although I still don't think they're going to be that much better. I'm not going to go past 2022. And that's the team that lost to St. Peter's, and people will be mad at that. But that team was 14-4 in the SEC. They were, I believe, a 2 seed. They were sixth nationally. They started the season 21-4. Like I think that team was insane. Oscar Tshiebwe was the National Player of the Year. Ty Washington, Severe Wheeler, Kellen Grady was a great transfer for that team. I think that team would be better than this year's team.
Yeah, I don't hate that answer. I don't hate that answer. I do think this team is substantially, though, like substantially better than last year's team.
Okay. All right. We're split on that, but I can respect that opinion. Let's go to Louisville. This one might go
Ooh,
back a little bit.
this is a tough one. I think this is going to be the farthest back we go.
I mean, I don't think you're going to take any of the Chris Mack teams over this team. So then
No.
you're looking at one of the last Patino teams.
Oh, you know what? It's not going to go back that far. Donovan's team.
That team wasn't all that special outside of Donovan, though.
But weren't they like a two seed?
They were a 2 seed. They lost in the round of 32 to a okay Michigan team. 25-9 that year, 12-6 in the ACC.
I
I
mean, I
think I have higher expectations for this year's team than that. I would go back. to the year where Rick Pitino, they lost in the Sweet 16, but I think this was the year after they won the national championship. They went 35 and 5, won the national championship, came back the next year, were the number one team all season long, had Montrezl Harrell, Russ Smith, Luke Hancock back. Terry Rozier was in a bigger role, and they lost in the Sweet 16 to Kentucky.
I like that answer. Also, I always forget Terry Rozier was coached by Rick Pitino. It explains so much.
Does explain so much. So, okay, Louisville's going to have their best team in a decade then. That's what we're locking on. UConn's easy just since their last national championship. Do we want to do like Duke? Duke is just since last year.
Yeah, it's last year for me.
Carolina is since the Harrison Ingram year.
Yeah, I mean, well, this Carolina team, like we might want to do worst team since.
Yeah, let's not do that. We'll stop there. Fun exercise. That was good.